Hello there, and welcome to Find Your Voice. My name is Joe Cramond, and I'm the host of the show. Today, we have a very special guest, Michael S. Seaver. He's an award-winning executive coach, author, and keynote speaker, and a podcast host. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe.
No problem at all. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, then, Michael. What's your background and expertise?
Absolutely. So, for the last 11 and a half years, I have been running Seaver Consulting LLC, which is a coaching practice that delivers one-to-one coaching. It delivers group coaching, online courses, published a couple of books, done quite a bit with personal branding to help themselves become very in touch with their most authentic selves. Done a lot of trainings, public speaking around the world. And so I genuinely enjoy taking a person from that place of disengagement and kind of wonderment about their life's purpose and moving them into a place of understanding fully what their life's mission and purpose is.
That sounds wonderful. Whereabouts are you from, Michael? Could we catch your accent there?
I was raised in Michigan in the United States. I was there for about 23 years, spent 18 years in Phoenix, Arizona, now live in North Carolina.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Brilliant. Well, it's great to have you on the show. And just for our audience, what we're going to do, we're going to go through a few quick fire questions with Michael, just a little bit more about him and his background. And yeah, when you're ready to get started, Michael, we'll get going.
Sure, that sounds great.
Brilliant. So, if you had a business card, then not that many people do these days, what would it say?
It would say the word authenticity.
Okay. And just leave it at that, sort of obscure, but keep people guessing. I guess that's the best way.
Yeah, it is. And so I do that very intently because a lot of people in my kind of circle of influence know me as being the guy that helps people discover the most authentic version of themselves. And so by simply having the word authenticity, it would really strike up some sort of conversations for someone to discover themselves.
That's very good. Very interesting. Okay. So why on paper should you have never been successful?
I was raised in a town of 2,500 people, predominantly farmers, in a little West Michigan town, and worked in a family landscaping and lawn maintenance business. And, when I was 15, 16, 17, I thought that might be my career for my entire life. And so I could have had a very simple, very good, very lucrative life in that small town in West Michigan. And that would have stopped me from becoming a coach or being successful in the way that I am today.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It sounds wonderful childhood though. It sounds great, like peaceful life and family business type situation. Now, I was in the same. I was raised in a small village, so I kind of know
Oh, yeah.
that sort of way of life. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
really good in Somerset in the UK. So, okay, so going back then, sort of 10 of your old schoolmates, how would they have described you?
I would say that they would say of me quiet, shy, introverted, hardworking, disconnected. During those childhood years when I was in high school, I spent a lot of time working inside the family business. So I did not participate a lot in sports or in after school activities. So they probably would only know me as being the quiet, shy, or kind of disconnected or disengaged or hardworking person.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So, what was the transition then? What sort of broke you out of that sort of quiet, shy kind of routine back then?
Yeah, leaving West Michigan and moving to Phoenix in Arizona was the beginning of my transformation because I went from that very, very small town to a town of about 6 million people, right? Metro Phoenix is quite large, very, very diverse. And the very first thing that I did in Phoenix was get a job at the Four Seasons Resort in North Scottsdale. So I got to interact with people from all over the world, celebrities, politicians, athletes, all of those wonderful things.
Wow.
And it helped me to understand that there's a much bigger world than that little town that I was raised in.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. So, okay, well, if you're writing a script about a sort of movie script about your life, what would be the opening scene? How would you describe that?
It would be me lying on my bedroom floor contemplating suicide.
Oh,
And
wow.
I don't
Okay.
mean to make it heavy, Joe, but it's that was a very difficult time in my life. It was May of 2019. But if you understood the story surrounding that particular circumstance, it would really help the audience to understand the rest of the movie, if you will, correct? Because you set that really, really strong
Yeah,
foundation,
of
and then
course.
you understand my life's journey kind of from that point.
No, well, that would be very interesting to hear more about that. But yeah, maybe not so much today. We just want to get through a few questions, but I think we'll hear some
Sure.
more of you hopefully later on down the line. But
Of course.
yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, when was the last time you did something that scared you?
We're kind of in the middle of it right now. My wife Tiffany has opened a wine and champagne bar where we live, and
Right.
neither of us have experience doing that really at all. So for 45 days now, we have launched this thing, gotten it off the ground, been serving guests, and it has been enormously scary to do something that we've not done. But together, we've been able to do it really well, and I'm very proud of what it is that we've created.
Sounds brilliant. Well, good luck with that. Yeah, it sounds interesting. Okay, well, are you a wine drinker yourself?
I don't drink quite as much. She definitely has a very strong palate for it. She has a bit of a history traveling around the world to be able to experience it. So for me, I'm more the behind the scenes guy. I help with the accounting and logistics and inventory and things like that. Love interacting with the team and supporting her in that way. But she is
Hmm.
definitely the face of the business and understands the food and drink far better than I do.
Fair enough. Red or white for you then? Just a quick one.
I would default to red, probably a Cabernet
Same.
Sauvignon or a Malbec. I like a little bit darker, heavier. Are you the same?
Yeah, the same. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so 20-year-old self is watching the show right now. What would you advise them?
I would tell 20-year-old Michael to leave Michigan faster and to begin my journey to authenticity sooner, right? Because I started about age 24 when I moved to Arizona. And so 20-year-old Michael, I could have said, hey, it's going to be okay. Make the leap now. And your life is going to be basically almost exponentially better in a way that you can't really understand. So make the change now.
Yeah, that's good advice. Fair enough. So when it comes to technology, then what's making you nervous at the moment? Is there anything that in the tech world?
There right now in the United States, there's quite a few banks that are crashing and closing and not doing so well. So for me, the
Mm,
thing that I stay really top of mind, especially with my own coaching business and Tiffany's Wine and Champagne Bar, is things related to fintech, things related to finance, things related to banking. So I don't entirely understand the industry, but I know that there's a lot of things happening there, and so my mind is very focused on that.
yeah. Have you got strategies at the moment of how to sort of overcome these things at the moment? You've got some things that you're
Yeah.
looking into investments and such.
Oh gosh, yeah. There's possible investors. We have bank loans available if we need them. We have multiple bank accounts, so we have things to protect and prepare the business in the event anything happens. So
Mm,
we're trying to think ahead as much as possible and just being open to whatever changes or doesn't change.
yeah, no, that's fair enough. Well, when it comes to weaknesses, then what would you say you're working on to improve at the moment?
My life as a coach, I spend a lot of time guiding, uplifting, and in some ways protecting people. And for me, taking the step back from having to be the protector of others as they're going through their ups and downs, that's a big thing for me to learn right now. So that's a weakness where I find myself overgiving or overextending myself or becoming exhausted. And so if anybody else listening or watching is that same way, right, find a way to be okay with allowing people to kind of navigate their curriculum on earth in their way.
Yeah, that's great advice. Well, on the advice row, you've given us some really good golden nuggets there so far with this chat. But if you've got 60 seconds, and it doesn't have to be exact, it can be whatever, but teach us and the audience, kind of like what would change our lives. Give us some advice
Yeah,
in
the
summary.
human existence is really a series of patterns, and we haven't been taught that through major, kind of legacy media or society. But what I've discovered in my coaching is that there's basically a three-step process for becoming the most authentic version of yourself. So, in your teenage years, in your 20s, you encounter a series of challenges. And if you can identify the challenges the patterns inside those challenges, that's very empowering because around age 28, 29, 30, you learn how to overcome the challenge. So
Mm,
then your mission, your purpose on earth from basically age 30 to about age 50, 55 is to help others overcome the exact same challenge you did for yourself. So identify the challenge, overcome the challenge in your late 20s, early 30s, and then help others overcome that same thing for themselves. And that's really deeply meaningful. So just take the time, journal, reflection, talk to somebody, challenge, overcome challenge, help others overcome that same challenge.
yeah, that's great advice. I think if everyone started doing that, the world would be a better place to live, wouldn't it? Because we'd
Yeah.
actually listen to our elders then, rather than because they'd be giving us good advice on the mistakes they've made and how they've overcome them and stuff and challenges. Yeah, that's fantastic advice. Interesting to say about journaling actually, because I've got a friend of mine who I've recently spoke to about podcasting, and she actually creates journals for people to actually really, because most people nowadays don't tend to write anymore. It's all on computer, isn't it? Or phone,
Yeah.
it's all done spell check and grammar. But I think that the power of journaling is really, really important.
Oh
Just
my gosh,
getting
I
those thoughts on
completely agree.
paper. Yeah. Okay. Well, so who else do you know that would love to be on the show to talk about their sort of journey and what they're about?
Um, I have a number of people in my network that have that have been interested in coaching or that I talk to regularly. And so I have a number of people that I could extend to you in that way, Joe. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that there are so many people on earth right now that are going through some sort of transformation and some sort of change, that they're looking to discover that really authentic part of themselves, and they just
Mm.
don't know how. And so being able to listen to a podcast like this and say, okay, how is it that I can find my voice and like really start to live in from a place of lots of dopamine being released, lots of serotonin, oxytocin, and being in that place of balance and harmony. I think a lot of people need to listen to this and be able to absorb those things and start to transform their life in a positive way.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Perfectly said. And I think as well, it'd be great to have more people just talking about their journey, and just being able to express themselves and not feel frightened or keeping everything inside their inner thoughts. Just getting out and having these conversations one to one with people. It's really, really valuable.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit dark now again. Sort of, what 3 words would you want written on your epitaph? So what 3 words would be something that you're remembered for?
Yeah, that's. I'm really thankful you asked. Thank you. So, authenticity would be the first one. We talked about that a little bit ago, but that's really key to my life and how I show up. The second would be growth, because I spend a lot of time putting myself in very stressful situations with the intent to grow. And then the
Hmm.
third thing is probably spirituality, because there's an aspect of religion, of faith, of Hinduism. There's a kind of an underpinning in my life of being tapped into whatever is up there. And so authenticity, growth, and spirituality would be the three things that I really want people to remember me by.
Yeah, perfect. That's really great. All right, Michael. Honestly, I would love to have a lot more of a conversation with you. I think you can add some real value to our audience. You've been a fantastic guest, and I really appreciate it. And where can we find more information about you and your books and things? Where's the
Yeah.
best place?
Thank you, Joe. So michaelsseaver.com. There's a second S in the center because my middle name is Scott. So please visit michaelsseaver.com. That's where you're going to find links to social media, links to books, things along that line.
Perfect. Well, Michael, it's been a pleasure. I really do appreciate your time today.
Yeah.
And any of our guests or any of our audience who are watching now, if they're interested in having a thought leadership journey and talking on these sort of podcasts, visit us at podcastguesting.pro. And yeah, everyone have a wonderful day. And hopefully they've taken some value from what Michael's had to say, and it gives adds a bit of sunshine to a rainy day, hopefully. So, Michael, really appreciate it. And you take care. And thank you very much for
You
watching,
too.
everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye bye.